developed by universities, but the operationalization of the East African Community Common Higher Education Area. Distinguished participants, as you are all aware, the closing dates for ACE II project has been extended to June 2024. The extension is a great opportunity for centers to work toward the achievement of the project development objectives. We do thank the World Bank and the participating government for signing the agreement to extend the project with the view of ensuring that the intended objectives of the program are fully achieved. And as I said earlier, IUCA is committed and will continue to support your efforts through effective monitoring and evaluation systems and regional intervention where necessary. Distinguished participants, I believe you will agree with me that June 2024 is not far from now in the implementation of the project. To help our countries to enjoy the benefit of the established centers, it is clever that we look beyond 2024 by developing concrete and realistic sustainability plans. I therefore urge center leaders and deputies to start preparing to undertake a sort of sustainability analysis detailing not only the relevance and acceptability of the project, but also the financial sustainability to finance programs and initiatives developed under the project. Members of the Regional Steering Committee, distinguished participants, we are meeting at a time when the world is struggling to manage the adverse effect of the corona pandemic. The coronavirus crisis and the resulting control measure, including the lockdown, have affected nearly every sector of the global economy and the higher education subsector, among others. I'm aware that some of the disbursement linked results, including especially results associated with faculty and student exchange and mobility at regional level were most affected. While we acknowledge the impact, we must, as centers of excellence, be able to find solutions, including the development of virtual environment for faculty and students to continue with the interactions. All what I'm asking is for centers of excellence to offer solutions, as this is why they were established. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to end up my remarks by thanking the World Bank, members of the project, and the Centers of Excellence for organizing this meeting. I wish to reiterate my earlier assurance that IUCA is committed and will continue to support successful implementation of the project. And with these few remarks, I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Professor Gaspard, for very good opening remarks. I now call upon Roberta to present the opening remarks. And please, for those who are not speaking, can you please mute your microphones?
Thank you, Jonathan. I think part of it's me, so hopefully that's better. It's great to be here. First, let me welcome Professor Banyan Kimbona. I hope I said this correctly. What a pleasure it is to welcome you to the ACE family, and congratulations on your appointment as the Executive Secretary of IUCA. I look forward to working with you over the next few years while we continue to support the Centers of Excellence. Welcome also colleagues from the Regional Steering Committee, from all of our ACEs, and my World Bank colleagues as well, to this biannual, semi-annual TAM. We're really happy to be together again this week and look forward to a really effective and thought-provoking week with all of you. It's been too long since we were able to be in the same place, but for the time being, this is what we can do, and we're really looking forward to working with all of you. You have a very full agenda for the next 5 days. One thing I would like to say before I go into a presentation on the disbursement of the project is that Jonathan has worked with our team to establish a schedule for one-on-one meetings. Many of you may have seen the agenda for this. Please look at that email, and if there are times that would work better for all of you to meet with Huma and myself and the country TTLs, we're going to make ourselves as available as possible to you for that. So if the time that you've been assigned doesn't work, we'll work around that and find something that works for you. Right now, I would just like to update everybody on the status on the World Bank side of the ACEs, where we are with disbursements across each of our countries. That I think this will be interesting just from a global perspective of how the ACEs are doing collectively. And also we have the data for each country as of the end of March for disbursements. So let me share my screen so you can see that. Let me see. Here we go. And Jonathan, I'm going to ask you just to tell me when you can see it, okay?
Yes, I've seen it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yes?
And I believe others can
I
also
can't hear
see
you,
it.
so I don't know why. Okay, so this might actually be especially helpful for Professor Banyan Kimbona, because this will be your first introduction to how the World Bank calculates our disbursement conditions and our disbursement rates for our projects. If anybody's having trouble hearing me, please just raise your hand in the window, and then I'll be able to try to adjust that, okay? So let me see, I can scroll here. So about the project, all of you know this. The project right now is $148 million. That's broken between all of your countries, plus the IDA grant that supports IUCA. The objective is to strengthen selected African higher educations to deliver quality postgraduate education and build collaborative research capacity across 24 centers of excellence, with the regional facilitation unit being IUCA. And the priority sectors that were included are agriculture, industry, health, education, and statistics. Right now, the overall project disbursement is right around 60%. You can see in the tables that we have. Disbursed amounts of about 88 million. The undisbursed are 60 million right now. And this is where we stand as of fiscal year 2021. So country by country, Ethiopia's overall disbursement rate is about 52% right now. Out of a $24 million project, 12.5, 12.6-ish has been dispersed, 11.4 undispersed. But you can see, and this is something I know you're all very proud of, and you should be, the rapid rate of growth over the last 2 fiscal years. So we know this is going to continue, and this is not unexpected, but this is where we stand right now. By the ACEs, this is the disbursement across the centers. You can see there's been quite a bit of diversity, especially at ARCE, but again, there are lots of extenuating circumstances for this. As we noted, things are starting to pick up. For each of your centers, if there are ways that the bank can support you on your disbursement in particular, please let us know. If there's a barrier that you're really noting is serving as a big problem for you, these are the times for us to get into resolutions, because the midterm review is over and we only have a short amount of time left. So we don't want to leave problems lingering too long. If there are ways that we can support speeding up, expediting your disbursement, please let us know. And the one-on-ones would be a good way for us to start addressing that. So for Rwanda, Rwanda is doing quite well with a 68% disbursement rate. Out of the 20 million committed, 13.6 has been dispersed, 6.5 has not. The disbursements started picking up a little bit earlier in Rwanda than in Ethiopia, but you can see the rate is still growing as we would expect. And the centers all doing pretty much the same and very well in the Rwandan context. In Uganda, 66% disbursement. This had a very steep growth, which is really impressive. Out of the 24 million committed, just about 16 million has been dispersed. And again, all of the centers are above 50%, which is where we would expect them to be just post midterm review. Kenya is at 62%. Out of the 18 million, 11.2 has been dispersed. And again, the centers all doing quite well. Insafood is coming back up, and then everything is just around, just approaching the 50% or much, much higher. So well done to all the Kenyan centers. Tanzania, out of the 24 million, 11.8 has been dispersed with a disbursement rate of about 46%. So Tanzania, each of the centers has had a lag and has plateaued a little bit. So we'd like to talk to the centers about how that's going. But again, sort of hovering around the 50% mark, we would like to see that a little bit higher. So the World Bank team will work with the Tanzanian ACEs to see where the bottlenecks are and how we can expedite that growing more rapidly given the time we have left for disbursement on the project. Malawi is at 71%. Out of the 12 million committed to Malawi, 8.5 has been dispersed. Sorry, it's flipping funny. There we go. The centers are well over 50% and doing great. And last but not least, Zambia is dispersing at around 50%, exactly at the 12 million committed, 6 million has been dispersed. But you can see again here, a really rapid growth over the last 2 fiscal years. And so we're hoping this is an indication of a continuing growth pattern for the last sort of 2 years of the project. And sorry, I'm doing this in PDF form. Yeah, hovering right around the 50% mark. So again, the World Bank wants to support all of you to really accelerate disbursement, especially while you still have time to do the spending and you're not feeling constrained by the closing of the project. So this is really the period to accelerate what you're doing, for us to intervene, to support what you want to be accomplishing in the next 2 years, and to really overcome any obstacles that you're experiencing right now. So please be very proactive with us as much as you possibly can be. And we will do the same with all of you. We've had such positive and growing experience over the last 2 years when the transition happened from the old World Bank support team to the new one. We know you all really well now. I hope you feel comfortable with us just coming in and seeking our support and asking questions and asking for advice and interventions on our part. We want to be a very positive part of your experience in wrapping up and expanding what you can accomplish through the ACE initiative. So congratulations actually to all of you. We're really proud of where things stand. With Mozambique is around 41%, but again, we know that the Mozambique ACE is growing and has a rapid steep climb over the last 1.5 fiscal years, and so we expect that to continue. I think that's the last slide. So I'll stop sharing. Sorry, I look very serious. Anyway, if you have any questions about this, our whole team is here to answer questions about how we calculate the data and where things stand. The midterm review, as you all know, has been concluded. The restructuring of the project has finally been accepted by all of our client countries involved in ACE II. So that was a big accomplishment that happened in the last couple of months. So the restructuring is also completed. And so from the World Bank side, we're feeling really positive, and we want to thank all of you for the initiative and the support that you have put into growing your projects, strengthening your projects, and improving how you've implemented. And we hope that continues, and we are here to support you in doing that. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Jonathan. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Roberta, for a very good presentation. You make me smile to see how good you are doing in terms of disbursement, because this is the focus of the project. Now that we have all the presentation from the leadership, I would like now to invite the meeting to more technical aspect of the meeting today. And to start with, I would like to invite the center leader from University of Moi to make a presentation on the development of partnerships. And here we expect him to share issues and some lessons from them. But for your information, Peter is hosting the Incubation Center for Renewable Energy, but also Peter is participating with the private sector. They have a factory, so there's a lot of lessons that you can get from the presenter. So Ambrose, please, you are most welcome.
Thank you, Jonathan. Good afternoon for those who are afternoon, and good morning for those who good morning applies. As Jonathan has said, Moi University is one of the 24 centers of excellence. We are among the 4 that are hosting an incubation center. So I hope you are seeing my slides I've shared.
Yes, yes, we see them.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to talk briefly about our center and then focus more on development of partnerships, where we'll share our experiences on issues and lessons that have been learned. So as a center, we have 4 specific objectives that we are focusing on, where we are trying to strengthen education capacity excellence in terms of quality postgraduate training, and then also strengthening, enhancing our research capacity excellence and outreach service in the 3 thematic areas that we are concentrating on. That's phytochemicals, textile, and renewable energy. Again, we are also focusing on strengthening sustainability of the research and the training, and this is through the enhancement of the facilities in the university. And the 4th one is actually strengthening our innovation and technology development in the industrial and manufacturing sectors. In this slide, we are sharing with you our student enrollment at the center since 2017 up to this year. So you can see that we have several countries that our students comes from, all the way from Malawi, Zambia, Uganda, several countries. And there is the map towards the left there. It is showing the various countries that our students comes from. You can see that our target for the PhD students was 30 of them, but at the moment we have achieved 48, where we have 33 male and 15 female. For the master students, we were targeting 60. So far, we have 106, where 66 are male and 40 are female. On the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see the various distributions in terms of PhD and master students, whether regional or national students. And then on this slide, it's a slide that it is actually a slide that we are very happy to present, because we wanted to accredit 4 programs at national level and 2 internationally. And why we say we are so proud to present this slide is that recently 2 of our 2 programs have been accredited internationally by ACAS. That is the PhD and PhD in textile and material engineering, and also PhD in energy studies. So the photo on the left bottom is actually during the virtual site visit by ACAS, which was held on 13th and 14th of March. On the right is one of the photos where some of our colleagues were in a workshop in developing a curriculum, again, where a number of partners were teaming up with us to develop a new curriculum in masters, that is masters in sustainable energy and energy access. And this one has been sent for accreditation at the Commission for University Education. On this slide now, I'm trying to narrow more on partnership. We are collaborating specifically for enhancing research and also training. We have established 7 MOUs since we started the center, where 3 of these MOUs are with private institutions. The first one being the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, abbreviated as CAM. Then we have the Flexi Biogas International, and the third one is NOCAT International. So the 3 partners in the center which are public is the one of KIRDI, that's Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute. Then we have the Busitema University of Uganda and University of Gesira in Sudan. Then we have one which is a partnership with a professional body, that is the Association of Energy Professionals of East Africa. Out of these 7, 4 of them we have submitted and we have been given money for that. However, 3 were recently submitted for verification. So on the right, you can see our members of the Industrial Linkages Committee, which is a committee that is doing a wonderful job. And then the photo below here is during some of the visits by our committee members of industrial linkages, discussing and engaging partners on a number of projects. We have had a smooth operation with our partners, but of course, sometimes we face some challenges, and we are going to share some of the challenges that we have encountered with our private partners. We all know that private partners, they are profit-oriented. I mean, they are always careful in terms of maximizing their profits. And as such, when you are engaging them, at all times, they look at the money aspect. And because of this, a number of challenges that we have experienced, we have categorized them into 4. The first one is on the aspect of time. So private sector, normally they work on a very tight kind of program, and therefore they have less time in terms of, engaging and discussing on partnerships. And for this, you have to bear with the person, you have to bear with the contact person who may have to sacrifice maybe his lunch hour or past working hours to engage more on the same. And then the other aspect is on the benefit. When the benefit of the partner is not very clear to the private partners, then it becomes kind of a challenge in terms of moving forward with them. Again, the other thing is the fear. The private sector, they fear, like, probably by working with you, you may get to know some of their competitive edge or the advantage that they have. And this, they fear probably a secret of how they do their things, or even intellectual properties may leak to their competitors. And this causes them to be a bit reluctant. Then the other aspect is bureaucracy. Being a public institution, we tend to have probably a number of steps to undergo in terms of implementation, but private sector, they move swiftly. And so those are some of the kind of challenges that we have to overcome. So what are these lessons that we have learned as far as establishing partnership with the private sector? So we have now learned a number of issues. The first one is the importance of using the personal network. This is very critical as far as, establishing partnership, because, at least you know someone. So from there, then you can engage and finalize on that. So again, you must be very innovative in terms of how you are planning meetings with the partners. So time management is key. The other one is being quick in terms of responding, and this you are able to win on them. So in this slide, we are sharing with you some of the exchanges that has been effected, both for staff and students. And this is courtesy of the partners that we have at the center. So at the top left, we have one of our students who went to Busitama University. These are for PhD students. At the left bottom is Scholastica, when she went to Busitama again. At the middle, we have one of our students from Uganda. He went for a staff exchange at the government analytical laboratories. And then one of our national students again, who went to Mbarara University. And we are happy about Mbarara because it's one of the centers of excellence. And when we send our students also there, we know, the benchmarking is quite important. Again, we have not been left behind as far as maximizing and using the opportunities that were created by the World Bank. At the top right is one of our students, Joan, who went to Jawahar Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research in India. And then at the bottom there is one of our Messi students, Maureen, again, who went to one of the industrial partners.
Chimwaga.
And then in this slide,
tuongee saa 11 niko kwenye kikao.
Yeah, sorry for that person who is trying to share with me on partnership. Of course, that's on a light note. At this slide, we are presenting some of our faculty members who went for staff exchanges. We have one colleague who went to Kirdi. We have one who went to Uganda. And then at the middle there is one of our staff again who went to Uganda. Uganda seems to be one of our best destinations, but of course, a number of them also went to University of Gezira. At the center bottom here is one of our staff went to South Africa at Vaal University of Technology. And then on the right, Dr. Anthony Muliwa, he went to Mapranano, which is also one of the centers of excellence at Uganda. We have worked together, also partnering in establishing projects jointly. In fact, this morning I was in a meeting with Professor John Baptist the center leader of Mapranano, where we also won another project, where the lead partner is Vasa University of Finland. So in the next slide, we are sharing our experiences as far as events that have been achieved by working together with partners, the private sector in particular. And this has been spearheaded mainly by our industrial linkage committee. So the first kind of event that we have held is the professional talks, which has been done jointly with the Association of Energy Professions of East Africa. So they come talk to our students and also even academic staff on a number of workshops, that are beneficial not only to staff but students and also the partners themselves. So some of these are the photos that they took during those number of events. Again, we have had a biogas training, and this was specifically for the high schools that are within Uasin-Gishu County, where our university is, and also in the neighboring counties, because again, we have to impact for the good. And the first photo on the left is the Kapsabet Boys High School, actually, which is one of the schools that we are so proud to be associated with. They were top in the country. And then we don't leave behind the girls' schools also. And then on the right is the Moi girls within Eldoret town, where the university is also almost situated also, and Volpoip. So you can see we care about both boys and girls high schools. Again, we have done biogas training, not only for the schools, but we also did for the community. And this we did as an outreach activity. This we have done with one of our partners, that's the Flex Biogas International. So you can see the photo on the left is what this gentleman, the family of this gentleman has been using. In the middle, you can see the kind of damage he has been causing through deforestation by cutting firewood to use on this kind of kitchen. And then on the right now is where he's feeding cow dung to his biogas, and the photo on the right bottom is where now the use of clean and fast cooking source of energy is being used, courtesy of the impact of ACE II, PTRE, and the partner. So we have actually learned a number of lessons, of course, and there went a number of challenges as far as implementation in terms of the staff exchange, the research itself, and also the outreach initiatives. So in our operations, these kind of activities or events that we have organized have all, or even the research themselves, we have been conceptualizing them jointly as a university and also the industrial partners. However, we have been able to categorize some of these challenges into kind of 4 categories. The first part, we say that these research problems are, most of the cases are identified when the targeted students have already started their projects. And this, makes us take longer time in terms of identifying other students who can probably also be engaged. And then, for this, there's actually need for the identified problems or challenges, research solutions to be provided so that the students can be targeted much early and they are able to begin their research in time. The other category is whereby the students—
You must be approaching the conclusion.
Okay, so I maybe skip this. The other, okay, quickly is that the students begin their research on identified problems, but however, they tend to have some kind of challenges, and this affects kind of our working relationship with the industry. And then again, most of the partners may not be having direct funds for these particular areas of focus that we want to sort of offer solution jointly. The fourth one is whereby the partnership between the university and the private sector, the university have to still pay, the research-related costs. Then we have, through working with partners, we have been able to offer a number of short courses, and using our partners, a number of courses were offered jointly. Then maybe I can skip this. Last year, as a center, we were able to offer host an international conference for the first time as an ACE II, and this was highly successful. However, there were some challenges again. Some of the partners we were approaching to assist us were complaining of COVID, interference, and as such, they were not able to fund us for the support. And then some of the challenges that touches on actually on the PTREIC itself, the incubation, is the challenges as far as commercialization is concerned. Because one, when we are trying to translate science into new products, the process is a bit slow and also laborious. And then the challenges that I believe is common everywhere is the aspect of weak university-industry linkages. The other aspect is of standardization of products in readiness for commercialization. So in this slide, we are showing a number of the partners that have been working with us with the incubation center. But the top one on the left is actually now where we are showing where the big challenge is, or the problems that we encounter, where you want to move a product from its development to commercialization bit. So there's a debt kind of valley there. And then the second debt valley of debt is when now you're moving from commercialization to the real rollout. So the challenges could be in terms of resources, it could be in terms of organizational challenges, and then the other one could be in terms of vision or mission. So this is actually our last slide where we want to thank everybody. Thank you, and merci beaucoup. That is the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambrose and the team, for a very good presentation. You might have noticed from the program we have close to 45 minutes for questions and answers. So please keep your questions. Once we get all the presentation, then we'll provide the opportunity for you to ask whatever question you want to ask any of the presenters. Now I would like to invite from BioTrack, Dr. Kasim, if you're ready to make your presentation on the contribution of ACEs in the fight against COVID-19. And let's try to be within 15 minutes because we have so many presentations to make and we want to use our time economically. So from BioTrack, if you're ready, please share your screen and make your presentation. From BioTrack, are you there? Kasim.
I can see them in the room, Jonathan, but I don't know, maybe they have trouble with their microphone.
Yeah, I've seen them before, so
Yeah.
let me move to Rwanda Center for Education, and then we'll reschedule from BioTrack after the Center for Education. So Professor Lakan, are you there? Lakan and team. Yes, Professor Lakan, you have the floor, please.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning and good afternoon. Yeah, thank you very much. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, very well.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I will be speaking on online teaching and learning activities, experience from our University of Rwanda.
Hello.
Yes, please. So outline of the presentation, first of all, I will talk on the online teaching and learning, and then I will talk about the monitoring.
Can you go close to your mic because you seem to be a bit far? Can you just talk close to your mic? And from BioTrack, you will present after Professor Lakan is done.
Now, is it okay?
Yes, it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So for the online and teaching and learning, at the College of Education, we have experience of about 20 years of distance learning programs, and that helped us to deal with this situation in which we are in COVID-19 situation. So our modules were designed by a course team. For each module, there are sometimes 2 persons, sometimes 3 persons, and in some cases, even 1 person also. So we used online learning and science education research because our center is dealing with the mathematics and science education research. So while we are developing the modules, we are using the online learning and science education research. All our modules, 22 modules of MEd program with sufficient learning materials and activities are already available to the UR e-learning platform. And we are using them in a blended mode. So sometimes online and sometimes face-to-face also we are using. So I'm going to discuss on the e-learning platform related to some particular module, what type of things we have. So as soon as we open the module, then in the module cover page, we have the welcome message from the module team, particularly from the module leader. Then module's aims are specified and intended learning outcomes related to the module, those are mentioned. And then those who are facilitating team, their contact details, email address, telephone numbers, and all those things are available. And then teaching and learning activities, what type of activities will be going on during the teaching and learning of the module, and what type of tasks are needed for the how to start the module. And then assignment, that means in-course assessment, as well as the final exams and so on. Those informations are available. Then at the same time, module development template is available, so which is helpful for us that how to develop the module. At the same time, it will be used for the monitoring and evaluation as well by the university, by the different organs of the university, as well as by the Higher Education Council, which is monitoring the higher education in our country, Rwanda. So in this template, there are details of the authors, of the contributors to the course and their role. Course details. In the course details, there are hours distribution. For example, the learning outcomes are well defined. Then indicative contents, those are discussed. Then in the assessment of the module level learning outcomes, then corresponding to the learning outcomes, module assessment tasks are well defined. For the features, we have a student profile, what type of skills the students should learn, then what type of prior knowledge is assumed for this module. Those type of things are discussed. For the quality assurance matters, weekly reports are the part of the quality assurance. Then the students provide the feedback at the end of the module. For the storyboard, again is discussing how the module will be evolved during the teaching and learning. So it is related to the every week. Let us say the one module may go like 15 weeks. So for those 15 weeks, how the things will be going on. So related to this, then for example, week 1, intended unit learning outcomes are well defined. Activities where the students engage with the unit, with this unit outcome, and where and how is this unit outcome assessed, and learning resources, those are defined in the storyboard. So when these things are available, then it is useful for the students as well as the as well as the facilitators, but at the same time for the assessment and monitoring and evaluation also. For example, any official from the university can see what type of thing are planned for this module, and can see also that what are written, then whether those things are there on the platform or not. Even the hack also can see. And then there are different type of, you see, when students have access to the module, at the same time the head of department, then the dean, or in our case the center director, they also have the access, so they can see for each module. DVC also has access and the principal also has access. Now I am going to discuss the main characteristics and features which are frequently used for the online module. For example, we use the assignment, monitoring of the attendance, chat sessions are arranged, then feedback are provided, then forums are arranged, then different type of quizzes are provided on the platform, then some time duration is given for a particular quiz, then students may provide the answers, and then different type of quizzes, for example, the multiple answer type of questions can be given, then surveys can be arranged, then we can share files can also be shared. So these are the different type of characteristics which we are using. Now I am going to discuss that main characteristics of a module. When we are discussing, when we are developing the module, as I already told you that we are using the science education research, that how can we make a module which may be suitable for the student. So in that case, that we are using the quizzes, for example, to check the prerequisites, what type of basic abilities or thought processes which are required to follow the modules, so that we can diagnose and we can see whether students have appropriate level of the skills and abilities. So we can diagnose their errors as well as the misconceptions of the students. At the same time, related to the science module, because I'm discussing a physics module, then concept specifications are provided in the right way, that operational way to interpret of the concept, that is very much emphasized, that what are the steps to define some, you can say some, provide some concept, that type of thing is well represented in the module. So those type of things we take into consideration. When we are discussing module, then it is description is not limited to the words only, but the in this we use the diagrams, graphs, maps, mathematical relations. So different type of representations are used to present the content. At the same time, because students, when they are doing the problems, then they need to have the easy access to the knowledge. So organization of knowledge becomes very important in that case, that at the right time students can take the right decision, that which type of knowledge they can use at a particular time. So we emphasize the organization of the knowledge, in that we provide the summaries, concept map diagrams, that how the different type of concepts are related to each other and so on. Then problem solving using a systematic way, systematic approach for the problem solving. For example, analysis of the problem, how can the student construct the solution, how the solution can be checked, that whether the solution which is provided is consistent, having some criteria. And that also using the multiple representations. Then sufficient examples are provided in the modules. Then sufficient opportunities for self-learning through activities, self-assessment questions inside the text, etc. All embed modules with sufficient learning materials and activities are already available to the UR e-learning platform for learning in a blended mode. So even when we are arranging the classes face to face, then also students have access to those materials, modules. So they have access to the e-learning platform. Available online learning material include the PowerPoint presentations, subject content summary notes, individual and group assignment, exercises and quizzes. Uploaded materials include forum discussions which allow students to interact among themselves and with the teacher. We are using some approach which can be more fruitful through the blended mode. For example, a full-time teaching timetable in the blended mode, online as well as face-to-face, has been established for teaching embed programs. Virtual classes are being conducted using Microsoft Teams or Cisco WebEx. And then for modules which require practical or experiments, then we use online simulation also, particularly the PhET simulations, which are the supplement to the lab experiments. For the PhET simulations, those are, even when we arrange the face-to-face classes and the practicals are arranged face-to-face physically, then also students are using the online simulations. These online simulations are interactive simulation software that were developed by a team from the University of Colorado. We are in negotiation with them about the collaboration, which can continue. Simulations provide conducive learning environment regardless of the complexity of a topic. Then it can increase the students' attention and the motivation and induces the positive attitudes. Some of the studies are also available. Some of our students have done the research studies related to that at the secondary level. I'm sorry.
That's what Chelimo actually
There
told
are
me.
some paid simulation
Colleagues, we seem to have interferences.
I'm sorry. So there are some characteristics like the user-controlled dynamic visual environment. Then inbuilt some challenges are there which are not so much hard, not so much easy, enough visual complexity to create and maintain curiosity, and working with simulations that is easy, for example, to observe, explore, because different type of control of variables are available in the simulation experiments. When we are using the WebEx of Microsoft Teams, then we are using different type of characteristics. For example, record of class sessions, both audio and video, because we need to, for the evidence purpose, we need to have those records. As at the same time, students can also use at the later stage after the lecture also those sessions. Then easy representation and screen sharing, for example, a specific app or files can be shared from the computer, including the video files can be shared. Then there is some interactions with groups, file sharing, instant messaging. Those things can be used in the WebEx as well as in Microsoft Teams. Students' engagement is ensured using different methods. Retrieval of the attendance and participants, because that is used for the monitoring and evaluation purpose as well. So we take care of the attendance. For a we are providing some opportunities and facilitations for online teaching and learning. For example, we are providing to the lecturers, training was arranged for the staff to improve their skills in conducting virtual teaching. And for virtual classes, the lecturers are assisted by the IT officer. He is usually present with the lecturer. So if there is some hindrance related to the IT, so he is readily available. Internet bundles are provided to the lecturers for the preparation and live teaching. So, and our students, all of the students have laptops, and class is like sometimes 40 students, and now the batch which is going on, because 40 students, those have already completed, but the batch which is going on, that is only 21 students. And when they are divided in different programs like physics education, there are like 5 or 6 students, so that is easy to monitor, and all students have the laptops. We are organizing some online symposia and workshops which are related to the teaching and learning. As I already told you that we arrange the training of faculties on the innovative pedagogical approaches using instructional technologies for teaching. This is just a screenshot while we were providing that training. We organize some other workshops also which are related to the teaching and learning, so that the teachers are used to different type of pedagogical approaches which we are using. For example, we organized the 2 workshops which were organized to review the 4 MED programs, and 1 workshop for the CPD program. And organization of the that FATE workshop, how can we use the simulations for staff on pedagogical training on the use of simulation. And that was organized in collaboration with the University of Colorado from the United States. And 60 experiment or demonstration related to the virtual science lab modules, they are in process in collaboration with the University of Colorado. We are organizing the different seminars using online mode. In this process, I should highlight that monitoring and assessment, that is very much important. Otherwise, things may not go well. So for that, monitoring and assessment of learning and teaching activities were conducted at different levels. For example, HAC is monitoring the teaching and learning using different type of mechanisms. I will discuss little bit that we need to regularly need to submit the reports to the HAC, and sometimes HAC is also coming to visit and seeing the platform and so on. Then at the university level, there is monitoring and assessment, and at the college level, then at the level of the center and department through regular reporting using well-defined tools and meetings and visits by the HAC authorities of the UR and URC. The center developed the staff and students accountability metrics during closure, where there are the key performance indicators, what should be the evidence, and all those things are well defined. And then students are submitting the reports every week and so on. I will discuss about it. So that is based on the accountability metrics. And then center is also submitting. So all reports are submitted based on the accountability metrics. So each student submits the commitments to do well-defined learning activities to the center. And we are receiving each Friday weekly reports, and on the last day of the month, the monthly reports and plans. That means when weekly report is submitted, then report of the week and the plan for the next week. Similarly for the monthly report. a regular check of the attendance and visit to online materials for the both the courts, MEd court 1 and 2 and 3. I'm sorry. For example, this is a template in which the students are, no, I'm sorry. This is the template which is related to the hack, in which we have provided the report. In that we provide the report related to the set deliverables with the key performance indicators and means of verification for the master's students. So in that we submit for the each court deliverables, key performance indicators, means of verification, and then in addition to that, then we submit how the module completion, how much it is completed during that period, and that means before the lockdown, after the lockdown, or during the lockdown, how the things went on. This is some description related to one module. In addition to those things, then hack is asking for each module what is the status. So this is one example for one of our modules which is related to quantum physics. So the information in a particular format is given, but I have discussed that other things are also needed. Just it is just one brief example. So thank you very much for listening, and I will be happy to get your kind comments, remarks, and if there will be questions, I will be happy to share what experience we have related to those questions as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Lakan, for a very good presentation. I request that you stop sharing your screen, and I will also ask the audience to keep your questions, because I'm sure you would react to some of the initiative that the center has established to enhance online learning. So, Patrick, I can see you've shared your screen, and I hand over to you for your presentation. You seem to be are you muted, or what is going on?
Yeah, now we are coming.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is Farm Biotechnology and Precision Medicine Center of Excellence, which also hosts the Incubation Center on Precision Medicines and Biopharmaceuticals at Bahrain University of Science and Technology, Regional Center for Innovations and Technology Transfer. I'm called Patrick Guan. I'm the Deputy Director and also Principal Investigator of the project. So our center is one of the 24 centers of excellence established in Eastern and Southern Africa. We began in 2017, established at Bahrain University of Science and Technology, which is about 265 kilometers southwest of Kampala. Up to now, we have attracted 31 PhD students from the region and 31 master's students who have joined our graduate training and research program. Our target was to meet 30 PhDs in 5 years and also 60 masters in 5 years. So we already exceeded our targets for 5 years for the students. Our vision is to build a critical mass of specialized and skilled human resource that can transform, that can advance precision medicine and farm biotechnology for the economic development of Africa. Our vision is to be the leading African Center of Excellence for training and research in precision medicine and farm biotechnology products. Right now, we are contributing to our mission through documentation, validation, and value chain development of precision medicine and farm biotechnology products for use in pharmaceutical, phytopharmaceutical, biopharmaceutical, and nutraceutical industries in the region through training, research, and community engagement for sustainable development. Contributions of Fambiotrac to the fight of COVID-19 disease. This presentation was asked to present an appreciation of the contribution of the African Center of Excellence in the fight against COVID-19 disease. So the disease, as we all know, began around December 2019, said to be in Wuhan in China. And right now, according to WHO weekly reports, we have about 170 million cases worldwide infected, and over 3.5 million people have died globally. Africa accounts for 2% of these cases, infections and death. Right now, we have about 52,000 infected cases and 383 deaths so far. It's a small percentage. We commend government of Uganda and the president for guiding the nation. That's why we can see few deaths so far in Uganda. Of course, the virus has mutated into different variants. Now we're informed that there are 10. In Africa, we are seeing now rising cases rapidly. In Uganda now, every day we're recording over 1,000 cases of infected persons, which is not a good trend. So innovation that Fambiotrac came up with towards COVID, when the disease began last year, we came to know that the first line of defense was prevention using different methods such as sanitizers. And when we were notified that alcohol 70% hand sanitizers could be able to kill the virus, Fambiotrac responded to the demand at that time because the cost of sanitizers had increased from $10 per liter to $40 per liter. As you're aware, by then, there was only one company producing sanitizers in Uganda, and I think in East Africa. So when the demand went up, the price also went up. So we responded as ACE to produce high quality, affordable sanitizers. The team was led by Ms. Angopale, who is the product development officer for the Incubation Center at Fambiotrac. Later, we began research on potential active antiviral compounds and compounds that could modulate the immune system in the plants we have in Uganda. And we were able to identify 5 medicinal plants, and we have developed products from those plants so far. We have 3 products which we are aiming at therapeutic effect, treating the COVID-19 disease, as well as prevention. One product, we have called it COVIDX. The second one is Genat Immune, and the third one, Novid-19. The alcohol-based sanitizer we were able to have it certified by the National Bureau of Standards, so it is officially approved, as well as the National Drug Authority. It's accepted to be on the market because it was found to be high quality. These sanitizers quickly lowered the price of the products on the market and increased affordability and accessibility. So in the whole of southwestern Uganda, we actually supplying the entire region, some crossed to Congo, and I think also Rwanda during that time of lockdown. We were able to deliver these products sanitizer to the remotest part of Uganda, including districts such as Serere, which is about 600 kilometers from our university, northeast of Uganda. At that time, we were supported by IDO, which is an international organization in the UK, delivering sanitizers to Serere district to help people in the remote areas. COVIDX products for treatment of COVID-19 is based on isoquinoline alkaloids, particularly berberine, which has been proven to have antiviral activity against SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19 disease. We have identified 2 plant species in Uganda that are rich in this class of anti-SARS-CoV-2 compounds. And so far we have developed a prototype product, which we have called COVIDX, very rich in this class of isoquinoline alkaloids with known activity against the virus. And due to some of our staff getting the disease, they opted to use this product already, even though it's still under test. And we are glad to report that within 3 to 5 days, they were off oxygen and later converted from positive to negative. We are still carrying on the tests, on laboratory tests on this product. And as soon as we are done with laboratory tests, we shall move to clinical trials. So we're able to prove beyond doubt that the conversion from positive to negative is exactly due to the product and nothing else. So right now we're able to quantify using our laboratory equipment exactly how much of this isoquinoline is there in the product. And also we identified some other new compounds which we are yet to identify, about 3 of them, that work along with berberine. I think in the later day we'll be able to inform the exact nature of those compounds. But right now we are standardizing it based on berberine as an individual compound and also for total alkaloids in that extract. So as I said, we're able to identify exactly the compounds which are there and how much is there, and this helps us to standardize the product, especially when it comes to establishing the right dosage to be used in individuals. We need to know how much is there, how much is absorbed, and for how long it stays in the blood. Those are the studies that we are doing right now. Once we complete the test, we hope to optimize the product and then develop other dosage forms such as capsules and tablets, and quickly maybe move to clinical trials once we get funding from government. We also welcome support from other bodies or institutions to help us continue with this product development to help us with the curative effects on the corona disease. The second product is called Gena-Atimmune. This is mainly aimed at building the immune system. In our previous clinical trial, we already did research on effect of Artemisia annua combined with Moringa oleifera on HIV/AIDS virus. And we actually found that when the two plants are combined, there's synergy against the virus and there's synergy in strengthening the immune system. But for the COVID-19 disease, the active compound which is known in one of the plants is Artemin B. So it's the one that we are extracting and using to standardize this product, and also maybe be able to take it to clinical trial as a second product for coronavirus disease. The third product that we're developing is a combination of active compounds from the 5 plants we identified. And some of the compounds act on the virus directly. The other compounds act on the immune system. As we all know, most of the viral diseases cannot be cured by drugs alone, drugs that aim at the virus. You need a combination of the drug that kills the virus and those that boost the immune system. Then you're able to remove the virus from the body. So we believe that this combination of compounds that attack the virus and those that strengthen the immune system could help us have a complete cure for this disease. So far we have identified 5 plants based on the literature research. We have also conducted ethnobotanical surveys in Uganda. Its communities have identified more plants. And also we had already in-house laboratory data on the experiment we've been doing on different plants. So we already had these plants in mind. That's why we are quickly able to identify which are the likely plants to target and able to identify those active compounds in them. We want to thank very much the World Bank and Government of Uganda for establishing Farm by Truck that has given us infrastructure and postgraduate students which are very critical for research. Without the establishment of Farm by Truck and having PhD students, maybe we would have not gone this fast in developing the products that we're having right now. We thank Inter-University Council of East Africa, Ministry of Education in Uganda, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Community Development for coordinating and supporting the ACE in Uganda that has given us success that we are seeing so far. We're grateful to Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovations that gave us the seed funding to begin the research on coronavirus disease therapeutics. So the work that we are showing right now is a result of funding from Ministry of Science, Technology in Uganda that aimed at Farm by Truck coming up with a natural solution that could be used as cure for the disease that's disturbing us. We're also grateful to Barrow University of Science and Technology Leadership, led by Professor Celestine Obua, who has given us 100% support to the ACE. Without the university support, you cannot do much. So we thank him and his team for giving us the support to lead this ACE so far. So this is our team. We're led by Professor Bua, who is the overall overseer, Dr. Kasim Tolo, who is our center leader, myself, Patrick Guan, and Anke, who is in charge of innovations and business. Then we have in-house also our incubation team members, Emmanuel Aheba, who is the administrator of the entire project. We have Alex Bagonza, who is a business specialist for the Incubation Center, working with Jimmy Angupale, who is a product development officer, and then our accountant, Clear Conviction. These two are helping us to ensure that the Incubation Center grows commercially. And even now we have already 15 companies being incubated under the center. And then we have secretarial staff who help us validate run around, Docas, Masudo, Giovanni's in charge of procurement, and Salome. These are some of the staff that every day help us to make sure that our work goes on smoothly. I thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick, for a very good presentation and excellent science. I am impressed by the fact that you are trying to contribute very well to the development of cure for COVID-19. I know those who are in a medical discipline would definitely have some questions to follow up on what you presented. And I invite them to present their questions when we give this the opportunity at the end of this program. Now I want to invite the center Create from Tanzania to make a presentation on setting up GRM plans and whether there are issues or challenges that they want to share. So Professor Huda, your team is welcome to do the presentation.
Okay. Yes, good morning and good afternoon. I'll be presenting on behalf of my center leader, Professor Hulda Soy. And then I'll be presenting on how we set up and operationalize the grievance redresses mechanism and the challenge and the issue which maybe we encountered during implementation. Okay, Create is hosted by Nelson Mandela, which is in Arusha, Tanzania. And our main focus on addressing issues related to food and nutrition security across the region, but also contributing to the sustainable goals. And as you can see there, sustainable goal number 1 on reducing the poverty, but also number 2, zero hunger, and number 3, good health and well-being, and also ensure the quality of education and promote industrial innovation and infrastructure, as well as climate change. As a center, these are the services which we provide. We support the research activities, which are done by both students and researchers, but also we provide scholarship to students, especially postgraduate students. But then we promote innovations and product commercialization through our incubation center. But also we provide advisory services that's related to sets, but also policy review, even investment and management and industrial production for economic development transformation. We then do the outreach activity and build the capacity of the community. But then we support publication and documentation. These are the services which we offer at the center. So on offering those services, we normally interact with the following clients or stakeholder. We normally interact with students and innovators who are enrolled in our institution, but also we interact with researchers and staff, including the faculty members. Then through our intervention, we interact with the private sector, the industry, there you can see, the NGOs and the others, but then the governments, from the local government authority to the central government. But then we have partners who we normally interact with them and the donors. Through our outreach activity and capacity building, we interact with our community and CSO. So on setting our GRM, we have 2 tools which guide us. We have the one which is the institution, the Nelson Mandela Client Charter Service, which guides on ensuring that the service which you are providing comply, but also with high level quality. But then we have our guideline. It's called the Grievance Redresses Mechanism Guideline for students, academic, and non-student staff. This is for the center, which we developed to guide us on how then are we going to receive the complaints or the grievance, but also how the grievance will be reported and addressed, and giving the feedback to the people who complained or raised their grievance. These are the major tools which are guide us on addressing the grievance which will be raised by the people who we interact with. So when then by formulating the committees, We have two committees which are dealing with addressing the grievance. We have the first committee is called Grievance Redressal Committee. This is formed within the center. It's formed by members of the center. As you can see, they have 7 members of the centers, which is led by the center leader, who is the chair of the committee, but also the admin officer, who is the secretary for the committee. That is the first committee. But then we have the Grievance Appeal Committee. This one is led by a center leader, who is the chairperson, but the deputy center leader is the secretary to this committee. But also have other members who are coming from the school. You can see they have a school, the first school of Mewes. There's also the second school of Cox and Lisbeth. These are the 4 schools which are within Nelson Mandela.
Excuse me,
So
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can you put this on presentation mode, please? The slides are quite small. So is there a way for you to click the presentation mode to make it bigger on our screens? Sorry to disrupt you.
It's already in a presentation model.
It's really tiny on our screens because we can see the next slide mode. We should be able to just see one slide at a time.
Yeah, you may need to click on the display setting on the top.
That's it.
The display setting is bringing in the next slide, which takes space. Yeah, this is better.
It's better, is it? What? Stop sharing, huh? Yeah, okay. Oh.
Yeah, that's okay.
Custom, right? Hans. Custom. Share here, working on it. Okay. Share screen. This one. The last one. Then ask the question. Is it better?
Yeah, I think from my screen. I don't know, Roberta, if you got it.
This is better. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. So these are the 2 committees which they are normally guided on addressing the complaints and grievances reported by either the students, the staff, or the people who interact with. But then let's see we have also developed the tools or the platform where the people who have complaints can report their complaints. We have the online system. You can see here through our website. There is a portal where, someone can report the grievance or complaint, but also we have we provided the email for the center manager. Whenever someone is having a complaint, you can write an email to center manager and report on his or her complaint. But also we practice the open door policy. So if someone have complained, you can directly contact a person who is in charge or who is responsible at the center office. But then we have a printed form. If you go through our website, you find a form there. So someone can download a form and fill the information and send his complaint or her complaint to the center management through the center administrative office. But then at the center office, we provide a suggestion box. Someone can put his complaint or his grievance. Those are the tools or the platform where someone can submit, can report whenever he or her has the complaint. At the right side, this is the website. You go through the center website, you find the portal here, which is having the forms so someone can report. But then let's see on the process. This is the process of reporting the grievance. The first stage, we normally receive the grievance from the reporter. So our admin officer is in charge of collecting all the reported grievance or complaint through the platform which I presented. That's the first step. But then we normally are compiling the grievance which were reported. Also, the admin officer is in charge under the supervision of the center manager of compiling all the grievances which were reported. Then this grievance will be taken to, will be forwarded to the committee. As I presented, we have two committees, but the first committee is the grievance readdressal committee. So the manager and the center administrative officer will report all the grievances reported to the committee. Then the committee will sit and start addressing, addressing the reported complaints. And normally we have set the time there. As you can see, the resolution should be taken within a period of 25 working days. So the committee will sit and discuss and provide the answers to the reported complaints. But it will depend. For the normal complaints, which are the routine, the secretary to the committee can address those issues. But if it's a serious concern, a serious grievance, the committee will sit and address. Those are the two scenarios. When it happens to a serious complaint, the committee should meet and discuss and provide the answer to the complaint. So if the person who reported the grievance, maybe he's not satisfied, then he can appeal to the appeal committee. So the committee will sit and provide the answers to the people who complain. But if then he's not satisfied by the answers, he or she may report to the Nelson Mandela organ, maybe through the Vice Chancellor office. So those are the major processes which we normally do when we want to address the reported grievance. So, but we normally also take the question for if it happens, the complaints were made against one of the members of the committee, that member should not attend, should not participate on the committee meeting. This is due to the conflict of interest. So for the brief, that's the way we address the grievance. So we are still facing some challenges, especially when it comes to reporting, since most of the people, they normally fear to report whenever they encounter some challenges. So that's a big challenge, but we are still still raising awareness, especially the students and the staff. Especially during the orientation week for the students, we normally raise the awareness for them to, whenever they encounter any challenge, they should report using the tools which we provided. But also the self-actualization, most of the people are not understanding their rights, and defining unfair treatment is just a normal thing. These are some of the challenges which we are facing. So on the brief, that's how we address the grievance of complaints, and thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Create, for a very good presentation. I think members will agree with me that this is one of a good example of GRM that we are expecting from you. Now, the last presentation will also come from the system we're trying to build, which is the environmental and social management plans. And we want to share good practice from CDT Africa. And I invite Professor Fedaku to make a presentation.
Hello, good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. Jonathan, can you hear me?
Yes, very well, and I can see your screen.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share our experience. I have to start by saying that our experience in terms of implementing particularly the physical environmental management guidelines and plans has been limited, but I'll present it as is. But perhaps we have a good experience around social safeguards, particularly regarding safeguarding working environment, staff, student welfare, especially during the COVID-19 period. And I'll present our experience as is with the hope of some personal learning through my presentations. Okay. It's not going to the second slide, sorry. Can you hear me, Jonathan?
I can hear you, only that the slide is not moving. But
the slide is not moving. It's interesting, isn't it? Let me just go back.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm afraid I'll stop sharing and share again. Okay, so what I'm going to share, I'll just have a couple of slides just to recap about what CDT Africa does. And then I'll talk about the overall the overt environmental issues related to physical environment impact. And then I'll offer more details around our pertinent experience regarding social safeguards. Now, CDT Africa has been established, as you know, or has been tasked with supporting Africa to achieve sustainable development by creating the needed knowledge and capacity for improving access to drugs, vaccine, and diagnostics. That's the core mission of CDT Africa. Okay. And we have three main research and training platforms. The first is Medical Discovery and Development Platform. Second is Healthcare Delivery Innovation Platform, Clinical Trials and Regulatory Capacity Platform. And we work on all three at the same time. Now coming to the environmental, particularly the environmental and social management plan, the first part I'm going to present relates to preventing and mitigating impact to the physical environment. And the second part, as I mentioned, is I'll be talking about the social safeguards issue. Like all of the centers, we have submitted our initial ASMP plan that has been advertised in open space and so on and so forth. So that's the first thing. And we have been trying to follow those plans throughout. And as was initially suggested and approved, still our assessment is that the environmental footprint, the physical environmental footprint of CDT Africa remains overall minimal and perhaps has also some potential positive impact. And CDT Africa doesn't work on a large scale constructions, at least not in the next few years. cross-border rivers and so on are not involved. And in that case, the risk is at most categories C risk is our general assessment. And what have we been doing to mitigate the physical impact? We have assigned an environmental and social safeguard contact person or officer. And this person has knowledge about system development, ISO standards, and also has background in medical discovery research. We have established an SMP committee, this committee is coordinated by the ASM officer, and the center offers full support to the committee. And based on the recommendation of the committee, we are in the process of developing new governance structure, laboratory facility management plan, and quality assurance mechanisms. And as we planned initially, we have a program in medicinal plants conservation, which is making reasonable progress. We have received places for planting medicinal plants recently. And we will also work with the Ethiopian biodiversity, which helps in this regard. We have excellent engagement with the community as well, which does help a great deal, especially when one is talking about medicinal plants conservation. And I suppose there are clear gaps and challenges. And the first gap is identifying expertise in this area. We have advertised a few times to find an SMP expert to assist in this area. We'll continue to do this, but we hope to finalize this in the next few months. If not, we'll be looking outside Ethiopia if that continues to be an issue or a problem. And we work around raising awareness within the CDT Africa team, but we understand we will need to do more about it because this requires the whole of the team. We have more than 100 employees and so on, so everyone is not in the same place regarding this. So that really important thing in Ethiopia is the green legacy movement. So we should be able to, especially with the medicinal plants conservation plan, we may be able to synergize with that movement. And as I mentioned, we have received new spaces to do this, including in our new campus as well as in a rural district in southern Ethiopia. We have plans to reduce our carbon footprint through minimizing vehicle use. Our work involves extensive field work, so but we try to ration our vehicle use. We have a plan to minimize also flights. Of course, now flight is less of a question, but there are mechanisms to exchange flights, for example, by planting trees and so on. Limiting plastic bottle sizes or plastic use more generally around the office and places we work with. And as I mentioned, we have extensive community engagement. We have a desire to use those platforms for improving our carbon footprint and have more positive impact. Now moving to student safeguards, I think I should say we focus on positive safeguarding of our students. It's been extremely enriching experience to have students from across Africa, really. So to make sure everything works okay and they can navigate the environment, we have student handbook. Since the second batch, we have Amharic lessons for the students. So that helps them to go to markets, keep their safety, and so on, especially for regional students. Student representatives, not just for the overall group, but also contact individuals for regional students. That also helps. We have student affairs officer that keeps regular contact with the student. That also does help in ensuring safe learning and living environment for our students. We do continuous course evaluation, of course, that's part of the thing. And for specifically for the students, I'm not going to label the point here. We take grievance redressal procedures seriously. We act preemptively. We have online system as was discussed and shared. And I'm not going to go into that detail, but this is part of our safeguarding mechanism. So far, we haven't had any expression of concern from students about their safety as such. There are times when there were some issues around. We did keep monitoring the situation on a regular basis. So continued safety of our students definitely is our priority. And during COVID-19, of course, again, I'm not going to go into that detail, but of course, education was suspended. But we did keep a close contact with all our students while they were in our custody, and since they are back also. So we support tests for them, for example, if they need COVID testing, or if they need a treatment, we support those things. We try to make sure their virtual training is as enjoyable as is possible. And we, of course, we evaluate their virtual learning. We also take our responsibility for our employees very seriously, especially this was more to the front during the COVID-19 period, but more broadly, we have some working principles around our staff. For example, we have a minimum living wage or allowance, those sorts of things, just to make sure our staff actually do not live in poverty. If I'm more specific, I'm coming to the end anyway. To be more specific, of course, we have a workplace response plan for our staff, especially after COVID. That was developed in line with ILO principles. Of course, not all ILO principles apply, but ensuring our staff are healthy, our staff are safe, they get the treatment they need when they are sick. All those things have been in place since COVID-19 came about. Some of our projects ended during that time, and we decided to keep those staff working in projects until they get a job or at least they went until they had opportunity to look for jobs. And I'm not going to go into the details of what we have done, but we had a successful program of supporting our staff in that regard. The final thing I want to discuss about is the research. We have several projects across the 3 large regions, Oromia, Amhara, Southern Nations, and Addis Ababa. And of course, we have taken the necessary precautions. And number 1, more broadly about the safety of our field workers. And number 2, in relation to COVID. So we do document we do conduct regular risk appraisals, whether things change or not. For some projects, we do keep monthly risk registers, and we require for some to have risk reports. Of course, we have suspended, even before COVID, occasionally fieldwork activities when we considered there were risks to our staff or to our participants. And during COVID-19, we developed risk management and safeguarding plan, as you could see at the end. When we were reintroducing fieldwork, we ran a pilot project, pilot work. We ensured the pilot work was safe, and then we went back to a full fieldwork mode after that. So the COVID-19 safety practices are still in place for our staff as well as for participants. I've shown this a bit, but I have to say we try to stay sane. It's very busy work, or more positively, we try to have fun while we try to do the work, which I take to be part of the safeguarding responsibility of the center. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CDT Africa, for a very good presentation on environmental and social management plans. We are doing very well in terms of time. I would like now to invite members of the floor to air their questions, and you can direct your question to any of the 5 presenters. And for me, I would like to start my question to Professor Ambrose. You are talking of the Industrial Linkage Committee, which is helping you to build partnership with the private sector. Now, the question I'm asking is, how is this committee constituted? Who is the appointing authority, and what are their responsibilities? Yeah, that is a question from me, but I invite members to also ask questions. Just raise up your hand if you can, and then you identify yourself, from which center, then you direct your question to the person you want to address. Thank you. Professor Ambrose, are you there? Oh.
Yeah, Jonathan, thanks for the question. I want to ask my deputy to respond to that. But meanwhile, you can ask again the question. You know, I became part of the audience while you're asking at me.
Yeah, I was trying to follow up on the Industrial Linkage Committee, which you presented during your presentation, and then I wondered on 2 aspects. First is what is the composition of this Industrial Linkage Committee, and what is the appointing authority? Is it appointed by the Vice Chancellor or the center leader? And what exactly are they doing in terms of enhancing industrial partnership with the university?
Thank you, Jonathan. I can respond through the deputy center leader. So at the moment, you can hear?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you. At the moment, the appointing authority is the deputy, is the center leader. And the composition of this is, first, all our partners, the ACE are, and then secondly, we have the chair, and the chair was elected by all members of the industrial. They voted for the chair for the committee. So the industrial linkage members, the private sector and the public, they are chairpersons from the industry, while the ACE secretarial support. And then the working of this is that the chair has been calling for the meetings, and we discuss and give views of activities from the industry that need to be implemented in terms of research. And is also currently the chair is from CAM, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and he has been taking us on to lead of other industrial partners, who we can work with. And for example,
at that time.
Sorry, there is interruption. Lean, can you mute? Okay. And currently, he has been directing to other partners who have There is a lot of problem. I don't know if you can hear. Lean, kindly mute.
Yeah, we can hear you. And I request those whose mics are not muted to mute them.
So, for example, he has been taking us to partners who need, solutions to be worked on. For instance, it took us to one who is working on pyrolysis of plastic to produce some oil. And these partners, we work with them on, industrial solutions. And also, he has identified other partners in the industry who have some, problems that need to be solved. For example, there is one who are working on coconut waste, and they want us to see if we can come back with the biofuel from coconut waste. So currently, actually, the structure is that the appointing authority is still vested at the center, but we want to scale it up to be appointed by the vice chancellor once it is quite stable and working well. But the chair and any other industrial partner is the one who proposes new members to the group. So that is and working as per now. Thank you, and back to you, Jonathan. I hope the question is fully answered.
Yeah, you fully answered my question. Now I have two
Hi,
questions.
Jonathan.
Yes, Kamoko, you have not raised your hand, so
Yeah,
I'll recognize you.
I don't have an icon to raise my hand. That's an issue. I don't know why
Can you
it
hold
didn't
on?
come.
Can you hold on before we get? I think I'll start with Professor Gulam, who started to rise up his hand. Then Professor Mbale from Copperbelt University, and then Kaboko from the World Bank Tanzania. So Professor Gulam, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Let me first of all say how interesting the presentations were. Very, very informative, very interesting. And I think compared to what we have had in the past, this is definitely a great improvement in the sense that we could see the issues coming up and easier to see what's going on and so on. So congratulations to all the presenters. May I ask a set of questions to different ACEs rather than coming one by one? Is that okay? I can't hear you.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. In fact, my first question is to Roberta. In your presentation, Roberta, you showed that in majority of the ACEs, the expenditure seems to be increasing as from 2019 going on to 2021. I'm a bit intrigued by this because of the pandemic and so on. I was expecting a reduction in expenditure over that period. So perhaps you could explain, I think you have a reason for it. You did say this is, one understands this. Why is it that expenditure really started taking on as from 2019? My question to Moy University, PTRE, about partnerships. You've listed lots of challenges and difficulties and so on. Some of them known, some of them we knew about, how the way private sector behaves and so on. But what would be interesting is can you give us a few figures about what positive thing has been achieved as far as partnership is concerned, private sector, the public sector, whatever it is, what positive achievements have there been in your partnerships? My next question goes to Farm BioTrack. Absolutely interesting and fascinating presentation. And I think two parts of the question. First of all, in such an interesting field, I wonder whether, I wonder whether you're communicating with any other institution or an ACE or whatever it is within Africa or outside Africa to see, to collaborate and to see to get information whether you're on the right track, whether this is possible or is not possible, because you're really onto something that could be absolutely interesting and could even have global implications. So I think you need to tread carefully, collaborate, get information, but more importantly, don't forget about intellectual property protection. I think you need to take steps now. If you think you're onto something really good, start making a move to protect whatever you're going to find. Otherwise, you'll find that other sharks will come in, and you won't have much to eat. And then my final one is to the CREATES about the grievance redressal committee. I'd like to know what has worked so far. Have there been grievances? How many grievances have you had? How many have been resolved? How many have not been resolved? I think rather than the procedure, I'd like to see the outcome. Have you had really good, interesting cases that have been resolved? I'm sorry about all these questions. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Gulam. You had 4 questions. The first question was directed to Roberta. Please, Roberta, can you respond to what the person said?
Sure, happy to. The reason that the disbursements increased so much in the last couple of years is because of the performance results-based funding model of this particular project type. So it took the institutions a couple of years to get the verification of the achievements completed and then measured by us, and then the disbursements to come out based on those achievements. So there was always going to be a lag at the beginning while the implementation started and the activities were taking place, and then it required reporting, verification, and then disbursement. So the first couple of years were always going to be a little bit quiet. Those numbers will continue to grow up even during COVID because the institutions still have been achieving and marking their publications, the enrollment patterns, things like that. We may see decline on issues like the international student enrollments or the cross-border type of faculty engagements, things like that, and we'll monitor that. But otherwise, the activities will still be measured against work that has already been ongoing. So we should still see some growth in the immediate disbursement numbers.
Thank you very much, Roberta. The next question was directed to Moi University. What are the positive things that have happened with your private sector linkages?
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan, and also Kulam for the question. Actually, we have a long list in terms of what tangible things we have achieved. For example, we have been able to offer short courses jointly with the partners. There is supervision, there is joint publications, there is also sharing of facilities, there is central capacity building, there is the professional talks, and also even the curriculum accreditation, the one I was mentioning loudly in the presentation. And again, among the other achievements is also the visibility that has been enhanced in all the partner institutions. I think the list is long. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now invite Patrick from BioTrack to respond to the question. It was about how you are associated with other institutions, but also the intellectual protection of your innovation.
Okay, thank you very much. Right now, we're having a collaboration within Uganda with Makerere University Medical School that are helping us in analyzing cytokines that influence the immune system in corona cases. So we are starting collaborating with them in that area. But we need collaboration in the area of identifying other compounds that there are about 3 compounds in the plant that we are not able to identify right now because of lack of technology.
Sorry, Jonathan, I can't hear very well. I don't know whether it's the same for the others. I can't hear. I hear the voice, but I don't.
Professor Patrick, can you try to mute people around the room, because it looks like it comes from your side.
So maybe I come nearer the microphone. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying that right now we're having a collaboration within Uganda with Makerere University Medical School that are working with us to analyze the cytokine levels changes because we know that some cytokines are deranged in the corona cases. So we are seeing how this product helps to influence or change the behavior of the cytokines, which affect the immune system. But right now we need collaboration with the institute that can be able to identify the new compounds, because there are 3 other compounds. We still don't know their structures and their identity, and we lack the technology in Uganda to know their structure and identity. And then in terms of patenting, yes, we are thinking of immediately utilizing the national system of patenting to begin the process. Thank you.
I hope, Professor Gulam, I hope that Patrick answered your question. The last question you asked was directed to create on DRM plans. And you wanted to know what worked well and if there are any good example that we can share from create. So Professor Hulda and team, please respond to the question that came from Professor Gulam. Creator, are you there? It seems to be, maybe you're muted. Yeah.
This is Hans. Unfortunately, they just got out. So if you give them 2 minutes maybe or so, they will come back later to the question.
Okay, okay. If not, then we are going to ask this question tomorrow because this was a very important question.
Yeah, they're out of the room at the moment.
Okay, I want to invite Professor Jameson Mbale from Kitwe Copperbelt University to ask his question. That will be followed by Kaboko, and then Aquafish will follow Professor Kaunda. So, Mbale, please.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yeah. Jonathan, my question goes to Kipropo, the first one to present. Yeah. Yeah, he did mention on the commercialization. And as you can, as it was announced this morning that the funding will stop in June 2024. And one of the areas whereby we can sustain ourselves is to commercialize some of the research, some of the center outputs. Now, can Kiprop or Rose Ramakanti share with us what are those experiences pertaining to commercialization challenges? Experiences on commercialization challenges towards their center outputs. We believe that if these challenges are shared with us, we can also benefit from them. As we are all looking forward to commercialize some of our center products. So if they can share with us those challenges they are meeting, we would appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Mbale. I invite Kaboko and Professor Kaunda to make their questions before we allow members to respond. So Kaboko, the floor is yours if you're still there.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm still here. Yeah, thank you. First of all, I would like to join my colleagues to congratulate for all presenters for a very informative presentation. Now, in terms of I have 2 comments, maybe comments or questions from last two presenters, the CDT Africa and the CREATE. Now, starting with Ethiopia, the CDT Africa, you have presented about on this implementation of this environmental and social. Of course, I understand that our project mostly that there's no much on the environment part, but mostly it is a lot of on social. And this you could see the way how the challenge we have, because the way we have the environmental and social management framework, but I'm not sure if we always have time to look at it. But when I look at on the social part, I was expecting to hear more about how you are handling these social development aspects, especially, for example, the way the GRM issues, the GBV issues, and I didn't hear anything. How are you handling those two aspects? And mostly because you are dealing with the students, communities, and even the industry, in the partners, I was thinking that at least you should have some issues related to the social aspect, much detail, even having this committee, how it is well organized. I'm happy the way you are taking care of the environmental aspect, especially on the safety part. But when it comes to this area, I think we may need to hear from you. What are you doing? And because you have to mind, for example, there is, in terms of the issue of this sex corruption, whatever, it is high in universities, and there's a report, a rich report on how academicians and students are using the issue aspect to actually to make sure that at least they survive, or some of their personal needs are met. Therefore, I thought the social part on this project is very high. Now, coming to the GRM, the CREATE, I'm happy. First of all, this is a big issue which we have been struggling across all projects, even in Tanzania. And I'm happy that at least at this stage we are coming with some experiences how to implement it, because it's just not a big complicated item, but to be honest, across all projects we have, I come across in Tanzania, mostly there is some practices but not practiced. On papers there's something but not on practice, nothing. Now the GRM, the way they have narrated, it's good experiences, but I was thinking that maybe they could on the processes they could add some boxes. Of course they are doing it because they are saying the way they make the way they handle the grievances, but I think that should on the floor there should be a box on the feedback, because once the grievance comes in, and then after they are being resolved, and then they have to provide feedback to those who submit a complaint. That box is very important. But and then there are the other aspect. It is on the, because once it is done according to the procedure, it's supposed to be part and parcel of the reporting into the management of the center or the university. And it should be an agenda, and I didn't see any. It seems it is ending in the committee hands. But I think once it is done, whatever you do, it has to be reported back into the management. And if we look at the management meeting minutes, at least there should be an agenda. Whether there was nothing came throughout within the reporting period, or there may be several complaints and were reported, but at least there should be some reporting. The last one, of course, is on the question which was asked by Guram, and I'm happy if Huda can come in, but I was wondering why Hans, who is part of of course, but one of the other centers, cannot even provide some feedback, because it's supposed to be part and parcel. Every center has to have a GRM system. It means on the future you don't have that system, or maybe I thought because it's already at Nelson Mandela, therefore even the two centers should have that system in place. Maybe it is just they're just created as a document, but they haven't actually put into use as per Guram's question. Over to you, Jonathan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kaboko, for very good questions. I'm recording the questions because Create is not here, then maybe Hans will respond. So I'll get to Professor Kaunda to present his questions, and then thereafter we shall. No, I'll also allow Mushri to ask her questions, and then thereafter you'll be required to respond. So Professor Kaunda from Wakofish, please.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, and thank you, colleagues, for the good presentations. I wanted to ask from University of Rwanda, the colleague that presented on the blended teaching mode vis-a-vis the COVID-19. Number one, maybe you could shed some light in terms of the policy environment of Rwanda in terms of offering these programs, also through the accreditation system. Maybe you could help us, because in some countries, I think we are caught unawares, and maybe the policies are not in place in terms of that. Secondly, since you are dealing with STEM and the blended teaching and learning, I wanted to also him to share the experience of the products. How are they performing out there after these limited face-to-face, particularly when talking about physics, mathematics, and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Kaunda. Moshri.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thanks everyone for the great presentations. I have two questions. My first question is for Professor Yadav. He mentioned about this assessment accountability matrix for the online programs that are being offered at the center. I'm just curious about like what kind of assessments are actually in place for the students? Like how does the center know whether a student has completed one program and moved to the next program? So that's my question for Professor Yadav. And my second question is from Dr. Patrick. He mentioned about the COVIDX development, and I think the center is making amazing products. So like, is that product already being used widely? Like how long does it usually take for the product from, like the research straight through clinical trials through finally being available to the public? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe we stop here and we get responses from presenters. I start with the Professor Ambrose. The question was from Professor Mbale.
Thank you very much. I will answer through on behalf of the center leader. Well, my name is Professor Kriamiti. The question which is asking about what we are doing or the challenges which are there for the commercialization. What I can just say is that there is a very poor or a very weak innovative system, which is found in most of these developing countries. And that is why we were talking about the value of death, where we hand the value of death from the development to commercialization, and then another value of death from commercialization to rollout. However, in Kenya, the government has started having what is called Kenya. It is Kenya Innovation Agency, which is trying to see that this system of innovation can be streamlined and so that whatever comes out of the university can go to commercial. That is why we are saying that there should be a paradigm shift of the universities from being just a university of knowledge, but also it can be the university of entrepreneurs. The challenges which we find, mostly they are related to one of them on how to translate the knowledge and to come to a commercial product, services or processes. And this is because of the slow process, the process which is there between the academician and the innovators and also entrepreneurs who have the money to put the products into the market. And this is also due to the lack of the weak university linkage and the commercial industries, where you find that most of the commercial, they are interested in business. And some of the universities, they have products which are not completely full, so that you find that it has become a bit difficult for the entrepreneurs to receive this product and start commercializing them. And the other thing which is there, it is standardizing of these products. We have just seen from also University of Uganda where they are making some drugs, and these drugs, they need to be standardized. And before they can go to the market, like in Kenya, there's a Kenya Bureau of Standards, the drugs, they should be at a given standard or at a given norm. And these norms, they are supposed to be there. If you are making a product or a process, it should be at a given norm, and this standardization, it is one which is giving us a bit of problem. And then they need to have a space and where they can have, because some of these things, they require an incubation center where people can be able to have a space where they can have all the resources available, whether it's the resources of being trained, to be coached, and until they can come up with their processes or products to go to the market. So these are some of the challenges that we have, but I think due to more university, we got some grants for incubation center, and we are trying to see that you can streamline this innovative system so that you can be able to have it very safe. But members, it is very hard. It is hard, but it is doable. The product can go to market from the universities. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Kriamiti, I think from University of Moi. There was two questions directed from Kaboko. One was to do with what was presented by CDT Africa, and the other one, the question was directed to CREATES. So CDT Africa, can you start responding to the question that was put forward by Kaboko?
Yes,
then
absolutely.
I can see CREATES is around. It looks like they are connected. So we'll see. Okay, go ahead, CDT Africa.
Yes, thank you very much for the question and the opportunity. Yes, clearly there is a huge potential for social impact, positive as well as negative. So the question was mostly directed around students and community. Some of the things I didn't say because it was presented around grievance response mechanisms that was presented separately. In brief, though, our student grievance standards have 4 levels. So in each level, we expect resolution within about 10 days. So in the first level, offers a possibility of resolving. It's a minor issue, and that can be resolved informally through discussion between 2 parties. That's the first level. And in the second level, again, we expect that the second level also to be resolved within 10 days. It goes up to the student affairs officer. It doesn't mean a student doesn't have a right to go wherever the student wants to go. But anyway, so the student affairs officer may be able to resolve the issues or the problems, or the student may also go to the scientific coordinator, and we anticipate a 10 days resolution. At level 3, they go to the center leader. And again, the expectation is a 10 days resolution. After that, they could go to the university level. And we anticipate this to be resolved within 20 working days. So in terms of actual complaints, the main complaint we received twice was around delay in initiating initial payment for regional students. So learning from that, we have tried to make it quicker to address that issue. We haven't had other serious complaints to do with dissertation complaints, the use of facilities, other serious social grievances, sexual harassment, those sorts of things haven't been raised. As I mentioned, our primary attempt is really to empower the students and help them to navigate the environment. The second thing we try to do is create closeness within the core CDT Africa team. So if there are any anticipated problems, we can deal with those. And simple things like having regular electricity, those sorts of things can raise to a level of serious concern, but they can talk to anyone at any time, and we try to deal with those. So that open communication is our main tool. I think let me stop here because one could say lots of things around this. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you can easily say a lot of things. Now, the next question from Kaboko was directed to Create. I don't know if Create, you're ready to respond to the questions. There are 2 questions from me.
Dr. Jonathan, there were some questions for me also.
Yeah, I'm coming to you. I'm trying to go systematically so that I don't. Create, are you there to respond to the question from Kaboko?
Yes, thank you, Jonathan. Yes, we agree with the Kaboko suggestion. We should include the feedback. Though I was not, it was not in the presentation, but we normally provide feedback for the person who complained. But we improve our presentation also to include the feedback to the complaint. The issue of, he also recommended that, the complaint should also be reported to the institution management. The Nelson Mandela management. Yes, that's very important comments. We also improve that one, but also if you look on the presentation, if someone not agree or satisfied with the feedback from the appeal committee, she or he may report to the institutional manager, the Nelson Mandela management, on the issue which maybe she raised on that matter. So the two comments from Kaboko, actually they are very important. So we are going to improve them. But also on adding on those issues, with regard to gender or sexual harassment, just recently supported the Nelson Mandela to establish a gender desk. We supported the institution. So now currently we have a gender desk where, whenever the students or staff facing sexual harassment, maybe he or she can report to the gender desk. So that's one of the initiative which we also established. Yes, we also sensitized the community. We did a workshop on gender issues to the newly enrolled students, but also the staff of Nelson Mandela. So that's we are very sensitive on issue of sexual harassment and other gender issue. Then there was a question on what went well and not, is it? Yes. And what went wrong. Of course, we didn't receive any serious complaint, but we normally address the normal complaint from the students. Sometimes the students are complaining on service which are provided to them. So these are the issues which are normally addressed by the center management staff. We didn't receive a very serious complaint from the students or from the people who we are working with. So that's very important, but we are still facing some challenge. Most of the students are fearing to report their complaint. That's one of the challenges. But also some of them, they are not their culture. They think that maybe they are going to face some challenge during their studies. So, but we are still sensitizing them, raising awareness of the importance of reporting their complaint whenever happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There were two questions directed to Professor Lakan. One came from Professor Kaunda on blended teaching, and Professor Kaunda wanted to know the policy environment that favored or disfavored the movement from traditional teaching and learning to more virtual or blended kind of arrangement. So that was the first question from Kaunda, and the Mauritius also asked a question on accountability matrix, which you shared, and she wanted to know more about that, and I think you had a question. So Professor Lakan, please, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan. Thank you very much, Professor Kaunda and Madam Molsiri. Related to Professor Kaunda's two questions. First one related to policy. HAC had the policy that according to that policy, we were having the approval of our programs for face-to-face. But after rigorous discussion with the UR senior management and several rounds of discussions and their visits to our university and different colleges, then HAC was agreed that if we have the accountability metrics, which I will come to the second question, and then we are providing all the materials on the learning platform, and when they were satisfied and considering the system which we were telling them, like the providing all those monitoring tools, then HAC was agreed that the programs can be delivered in the blended mode. And then we were supposed to provide the reports quarterly to the HAC, and then monitoring at the university level, weekly level and monthly level. So that was agreed. Then for this situation, the COVID-19 situation, the HAC allowed for this blended mode. So that is for the first question. Then the performance for the STEM subjects, of course, there was close monitoring through the weekly report and then monthly reports, and then sensitizing the colleagues and sensitizing the students, arranging the regular meetings, online meetings with the students and so on. And we arranged the satisfactory survey, and at the end, we arranged the feedback the evaluation of the modules from the students. I can share with you the experience that most of the modules were delivered very nicely and performance was very good. But related to two modules, the students faced difficulty. One was related to the chemistry one module and one mathematics module where the students could not perform as they were expected, as it is the usual case. So that means for two modules, we did not get very good results. Then after that, the feedback was provided, more feedback was provided, support was provided. And then in those two modules also, there was improvement when the students sat for the redo exams. So that is the situation for the performance. Related to accountability metrics, our university was agreed with us that if we continue to support the students financially, like the living allowance and so on, so we should have clear guideline that what the students are supposed to do. For example, the related to the students who were doing the research, that how many chapters they have written. So there was time schedule commitment that by which time the student will be completing the, let us say, literature review, then research methodology chapter, submitting the paper. So all those things were already defined, and the students together with the their supervisors, they were agreed that what type of commitment they are making. Then there was close follow-up for those commitments that through the monthly report as well as the weekly reports. So that was the thing. Related to the teaching and learning, the similar type of thing that students will be doing the assignment regularly, then taking the exams and tests which were given, quizzes and so on. And then weekly reports, through the weekly report, they were closely monitored. Related to us also, there was accountability metrics that what the center will be providing. For example, how many papers in one quarter we will be publishing and so on. In fact, result was very good. Even we were not expecting, Dr. Jonathan and Madam Molsri, what we came with the result, like more than 30 papers in the whole year in peer-reviewed journals. Out of that, more than 18 papers in the journals indexed by the Scopus. So it was very good result in that case. But related to two modules, we got a little problem, you can say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Lakan, for responding to the questions. The last question was directed to Patrick. This came from Moshri. Moshri wanted to know the availability of the product, the process by which they take before they are made available to the public. So Patrick, if you are there, respond to the question.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so this product is currently available at the institutional level, at our research institutional level, among the staff. But according to Ugandan laws, we can have two levels of national program. The first level is called notification for commercial medicines, which you submit preliminary safety data and phytochemical data, then you can get a temporary registration. And then once you submit the clinical data, then you can get a full registration. So right now we expect in the next 3 months to get the temporary registration by national authority. And then once we conduct clinical trials, in the next maybe 6 to 9 months, we can get full registration status, then it can be available nationally and also to be exported. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see Kaboko, Moshri, and the creates, you have your hands up. I don't know if they are, okay, one disappeared. Kaboko, are you, okay. All right, even Kaboko is gone. So Create, are you rising up for something?
Hello? Jonathan?
Yes, Kaboko.
Kaboko is not speaking. This is Hans speaking. Kaboko, I didn't know hear you.
Okay, that's Hans. Sorry, Hans, please.
So we are here to create some wise features, of course. My question is for Roberta, I think, regarding the progress on disbursement. I see that centers have made good progress, but I also see that it would be nice to include areas where achievement has already been made and verification done, and there is a delay in actual processing within the country, because this would give us a different picture. So it would be nice to look at the progress vis-a-vis those links as well.
Hans, yes, we can do that with you. You know, it was a short presentation today, and to do all the countries at once in 15 minutes was just going to be rapid. But yes, it's something we can do. Maybe if we will work on any interesting narrative on that before the end of the week. If there's any outliers that we see or something that would make for an interesting briefing to you all. Otherwise, we can meet with the Tanzania team directly to talk about what we're seeing with the disbursement trends at your centers. I know that Tanzania has had some real movement in the last few months. So I think by the autumn, we'll see new data that will show a different trend in the Tanzanian context, because some of that was delayed due to the restructuring. But anyway, I'll work with Malshri and Huma and Sauri on coming up with anything that looks interesting for the collective group. Otherwise, we'll meet with you all specifically on your own context.
Yes,
can I come on?
Yeah, now that your hand is up, you can come in. I hope you're responding to Hans' question, right?
Yeah, that just shortly, because I agree what Roberta has suggested, but in terms of course, Tanzania, they look to be on the lower side, but if they would process the disbursement we have already cleared, they would be, of course, at the same level with our other centers. But the key question, of course, maybe I see Hans has asked, but maybe you may think there is a solution from the bank or the ICU. But I just follow it up from now. We just released the notification letter in April, but up to now they haven't got the funding. But when I looked at what is the challenges, I checked with the national coordinator. It is within these centers, because the means of finance introduced I think a program they call D-Fund. It's just a portal where these institutions are supposed to go and request funding, but then they were trained, and maybe they were trained, but up to now they haven't been able to access those to process the funds through the D-Fund system. And on that one, I don't know if there is something to what we can do from our side. It's just within the government, the centers, and to work with the government. But on our side, we have tried our level best to make sure that at least the ACEs in Tanzania are at par with the other colleagues. But that one now it's stuck. I was informed that they got training. I don't know who was trained, and maybe center leaders they were supposed to be. I don't know if they were part of the training, but it's just an issue which can be resolved within ACEs and the means of finance and maybe the means of education. Over to you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Kaboko, for clarifying a bit. I think Hansi and the team will attempt to discuss further with you how best to improve the disbursement, because there are quite a number of indicators have been verified, and the money that was reflected is not yet reflected in the disbursement. Now, colleagues, I would like to announce that we have spent 5 minutes more than what we planned to do, and this means we need to stop here. But before we stop, I have two things to do. First, I would like you to put on your camera. Our communications officer wants to take a group photo, so can you all put on your camera, remove your mask if you have, so that we take a group photo.
Remove the mask.
Silently, please.
And please.
And if you can put a smile, it will be very encouraging.
We're smiling.
Thank you.
Rose Kisembe, you've not put on your camera.
Will you share the photo, please?
Yes, we will definitely share the photo and the recording of the meeting. Agnes is organizing this one, so she will alert you when she's ready.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying also.
Agnes, what's going on?
I'm taking the just different pages. So
okay.
At a time. I'm on the 5th. There are 8. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you're done. Yeah?
But many videos are off. Yeah.
Okay. So the last thing I wanted to announce is on the one-on-one sessions tomorrow. Our original plan was to have Pitre, Sesam, Insefun, and Aquafish. But as Roberta said, this is optional. So if you have time tomorrow, you can join the room. Agnes will be admitting as many people as possible. So we welcome you for the one-on-one session. Today I had attended one, and they were very interesting. I encourage you to be part of that discussion. Otherwise, I would like to thank you very much for participating in today's meeting, and let us prepare ourselves for tomorrow. We are going to ensure that we maintain our time as planned so that we don't extend too much. And tomorrow we have quite a number of presentations to make, but also we have some breakout rooms that people will be moving to get more assistance from the one man. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the evening and the rest of the morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank
Bye-bye.
you,
Thank you.
Jonathan. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye from Fambaro Track.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.